Yeah, well, it's been well underway with speeches about the economy, about the manifesto when it comes out, UKIP's manifesto, and about the NHS. And in some ways, the party may be trying to broaden its message, moving on from messages about the EU, leaving the EU, and about controlling immigration. Let's discuss this a bit more with Mark Reckless, one of UKIP's MPs. Now, you, of course, have been to Conservative conferences in the past. This is a much smaller event, isn't it? It's very different from the big party events. What can you hope to achieve as a party after the election?
Well, this is our spring conference, not quite as warm as it was in Doncaster, but I think all the spring events tend to be a bit smaller. This morning we've been talking about the NHS. My father's a doctor, my mother was a nurse. The NHS has 3 times been a lifeline for our party leader, and it's really UKIP that's the party of the NHS. We're going to put 3 billion more into the NHS. We'd get that from the money we give to the European Union, and we've had senior clinicians, a leading oncologist, we've got a leading obstetrician as the candidate near me in Gillingham in Medway, and just the amount of support we're now getting from NHS professionals for what we want to do and getting those EU directives out. More money in is
crucial. Do the numbers add up, though? Some people have looked at them and said, actually, that amount of money isn't enough to train the numbers of nurses and doctors that you're talking about.
Well, we are doing an extraordinary amount of work at the moment, developing a manifesto that is going to be fully costed, independently signed off, and we need to make sure our numbers stand up. But the difference between us and the other parties is because we're not going to be spending 10 or 20 billion on the EU, or 10 billion on overseas aid, or almost 10 billion on renewable subsidies and billions to Scotland. We actually have a quite significant pot of money that we can put into our domestic priorities, and top of those is putting more money into our NHS.
Now, what do you make? Nigel Farage has gone to America. He's on his way back right now. He went all those miles, thousands of miles, to speak to an empty room. What was the point of that?
Well, he'll be coming here to speak to a very full room, nearly 1,000 people for me, and I'm sure there'll be more along for Nigel later, and he's going to get a very warm welcome here in Margate. Poll today putting him over 10 points ahead in Thanet South. The Conservatives in 3rd place. We're getting very strong support in Kent and really areas across the country. It's us who are challenging Labour or challenging the Conservatives in seats they've taken for granted for far too long. It's UKIP that the agents of change, and we're going to get back our country and believe in Britain.
Now, you've ruled out a formal coalition with your old party, with the Conservative Party. What would you be looking for? What kind of influence would you want, and how would you use that influence if there was a hung parliament? Yeah,
well, we've ruled out going to coalition. There'll be no cosy backroom deal designed to get bums and ministerial seats for UKIP. I can assure your viewers of that. But what we will want to do is we want to negotiate in potentially a hung parliament, and one in which UKIP may now have significant representation. And we want to have a free, full, fair, fast referendum on EU membership. But after that, we want to see more money into the NHS. We've set out at least 3 billion more than what's in the budget or the plans, and we need to get more GPs. We were saying today we want GPs to be an accident and emergency to help take some of the pressure off the emergency doctors, and that the NHS is going to be a key priority, and particularly getting the resources it needs. So the more UKIP MPs in Parliament, the better the chance of proper funding for the NHS. And if you vote UKIP, you'll get UKIP. If you vote UKIP, you'll get UKIP.
OK. Mark Reckless, thank you very much indeed. And the party saying earlier they're not being unrealistic about this. They're not pretending they're going to win hundreds of seats. They are, though, hoping they might nudge into double figures and use any influence that they have on whichever party is in power.